themselves at risk and they get caught. That happens all the time. But in general, reprobates, whether narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, whatever label or degree of reprobation you use, or whatever type of reprobate you are, reprobates, most of the time, they get away with exploiting, abusing, gaslighting, stonewalling, and taking advantage of other people. Why? They're just alert to the situation. Let's say a reprobate is cheating on you with the quote-unquote new supply, as they call it. He's just cheating on someone else that he's using also. The moment he feels that you're about to figure him out, he begins a fight, he begins to gaslight you, and he leaves you. He breaks the relationship. Or if it's a marriage, he asks for divorce. Or he behaves in such a horrible way that you end up asking for divorce. Why? Because the reprobate knows that if you find out what he's doing behind your back, he's in trouble. But if he breaks with you, and then you find out there's someone else, other people are going to think, he broke up with you and he found someone else. People are going to think, hold on a minute, but this is quite fast. You just divorced your wife and now you're already engaged to someone else within just a few weeks. So people will figure out the timing is a bit off, but if the reprobate breaks up with you and then the other quote-unquote supply appears, it's going to be more acceptable than when everyone finds out that he's been cheating on you all the time. So the moment the reprobate picks up in his intuition that there is danger, he realizes, I'm about to be found out, I need to get out of here. Or let's say you have a scam artist who's been scamming thousands of people out of their money. He made some good money. But one day he wakes up and he feels danger, feels like he needs to leave the country. That reprobate, who's a scam artist, he will purchase a plane ticket and he will go to Brazil or to Peru or to Cambodia, wherever he feels safe. And later, like say 2 months later, there's a police investigation that began against him. But he's already out of the country, nobody knows where he is. How did the reprobate know there would be a police investigation against him? He didn't. He just felt that there was danger and he had to go. Now look, I'm not praising reprobates for being able to get away with their crimes and with their neglect. What I'm pointing out is that the reason why they're able to get away with stuff so often is because they pay attention to their intuition. Your intuition is a scanner, it's a spirit scanner. It scans the environment and it picks up when there's danger and when there are good things. Now, a reprobate having his or her own violence backfiring is danger, so the inner radar picks it up also. The inner radar does not depend on the type of individual, it's just the inner radar. And reprobates realize how important it is to pay attention to their inner radar. Unfortunately, most of their victims do not. Because I can guarantee you, everyone who ever became the victim of a reprobate, or everyone who was taken advantage of by reprobates, at some point when you met this individual, or at some point in interact with them, your inner radar sounded alarm, your inner radar went off. The victims either were not aware that it was the inner radar going off, so they brushed it off, or they ignored, out of convenience, the inner radar, and they ended up in dangerous circumstances and in dangerous situations could have easily avoided. Look, we as believers, we should never, under any circumstance, ignore our intuition, ever. Your intuition is designed by the Heavenly Father for you to pick up what goes on around you. You don't have it for fun. It's there for a function for you as a human being. Your physical organs and your physical functions are there to keep your body operative. Now your spirit functions are there to keep you safe, sane, and sound while you operate in your human body. And your spirit functions they are connected to your physical functions also. As simple as that. So, learn to be sensitive to your intuition. That is quite important. And that is something most believers were never taught. I don't blame them. Nevertheless, they need to take responsibility and learn how to pay attention to their intuition. Look, in the beginning, it can be a bit scary. Let's say that you're in the bus, and suddenly you get the urge to get off the bus. You don't know why. You get off the bus. You wait for another one, and you're a bit later at work, or you're a bit later where you have to be. You make up an excuse. You don't know why. Later, you hear on the news that someone was stabbed after leaving a bus. And that bus, you find out, long story short, was the bus you were in. There was someone in that bus, was out of his mind, was ready to stab someone. So your inner radar picked up there was danger, you need to get out of the bus. You had no idea there was someone on the bus with a big knife ready to stab someone. Now, other people who witnessed the stabbing are traumatized. So whether it was you that was about to be stabbed, or whether it was you just witnessing it and being traumatized for a long time, you bypassed all of that. Why? Because you paid attention to your inner radar. Or it can be that you are a manager and you get the strong urge that you need to fire someone. You need to find some way to fire that an individual. Now you think, hold on a minute, why should I fire this individual? She just new over here. She works well. But even when you want to sleep at night, it comes in, you fire this individual. So you go into prayer about it, you fuss about it, and then you find a way with an excuse to fire the individual. Long story short, later you hear from other people that she was actually a violent reprobate who loved to make false rape accusations and will love to lose it on people suddenly. So, again, you had no idea what was going on. You just realized something needs to be done. So you paid attention to your warning signals. Now listen to me here. There are a lot of people on a daily basis in the world who don't take heed of their intuition, and they end up paying for it dearly. Some people don't even have a chance to regret it because they're dead. Yes. For example, let's say you live somewhere in a flat and you have this neighbor above you, and the neighbor above you, he's out of his mind and he targets you, threatening you, want to come after you, following you and all of that. So you report it to the police, you report it to the landlord, and nothing is done about it. And here's the thing. The people that live in the flat complex, they know about it, but nobody does something about it. If everyone in that flat complex would file a complaint against that man would have to move. The landlord would have to evict him. Or the police would say, okay, it's enough now, this individual needs to get out of here. But look at this, that individual is targeting you. Everyone in the flat complex knows about it, but they just tell you, oh, don't worry about it, the man's just in his 60s, he's just a bit crazy. One day, that man begins to knock on your door for a long time, threatening you, telling you, repeating over and over again that, hey, man, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you. You record it and send it to other people. Still, people brush it off. Now, hold on. And you're living there with, let's say, your fiance or your girlfriend or wife. Anyway, you live there with your partner. Why are you still in that flat? I mean, from the moment this neighbor above you began to escalate on you and nobody intervened on your behalf, you reported to the police and to the landlord and nothing was done, you realized, you know what, I need to get out, I need to stay a bit away from this flat. I may have to stay weekends away or all of that because I can't live like this. I need to keep watching out to avoid the neighbor above. What if by accident we encounter each other in the stairs? What's going to happen then? Now, anyone in their right mind would realize, you know what, I need to get out of here. And if let me say any woman that's with a man and would tell the man, okay, we need to get out of this. I don't want to live here anymore. Now look at this. There's a true story that happened in the Netherlands. I'm not going to mention names. It's not necessary. There was this young man, a Dutch white man, was killed by this Dutch Caribbean man who was somewhere in his 60s. And it was known that the man had mental issues. Now, he was stabbed to death, and the girlfriend in the house was, I believe, also a Dutch Caribbean woman. She was a black woman. She was stabbed too. Now, she survived. But she now has neurological damage physically due to being stabbed. Something she'll have to deal with for the rest of her life. That guy is gone. Of course, the killer is arrested. I'm not taking any sides in the story. I'm just pointing out one thing. Why did the guy stay? And why did this woman stay with the guy even though it was clear it was a bad situation? I don't care how quote unquote in love she was. The moment the man you're with is not taking precautions for his own safety, you should get out of there. I mean, that woman could have been dead too. Now, in this case, this couple, they ignored warning signals and they didn't do what they should have done, leave. I don't care that they were comfortable in their own flat. The fact is, there's a dangerous situation. You have a guy above you, kind of bothering you guys. Everyone else knows about it. Nobody wants to help you out. Even the police is lacking, so you need to understand you're on your own. You need to take precautions. They didn't. Now the guy is gone, and the woman is alive in a wounded state. This all could have been prevented. Now look, when you do your part in a situation, but the community neglects you, they don't do their part, then take responsibility and get out of that situation. This is what you need to do. Again, I'm not blaming it all on the guy that got killed, nor on the woman that's now wounded. I'm just pointing out that they neglected themselves. And by neglecting themselves, they put themselves at risk. So if those two would have paid attention to the inner radar, they would have been gone from that location a long time ago. That's what I mean. In the world, people are used to ignoring or suppressing their intuition just to fit in. Look, certain things in life, you use logic and common sense. There are also things in life that you can't discern through common sense nor logic. Then you use your human intuition. And using your human intuition is something most people are not familiar with, because we were taught by the Western world that the logical approach or the scientific approach is the best approach ever. And that's not true. So that is why I always tell you on this channel, pay attention to your inner radar. Whether you get good signs or bad signs, good vibes or bad vibes, you need to pay attention to it. And it isn't just reprobates who are further ahead in this. Pagans, namely New Agers, are advanced in this also. If a New Ager arrives at a location and they feel trouble in their intestines, they get out of there. They just make a dumb excuse and they leave, as they should. How many of us, when we arrive, for example, at a supermarket, or we arrive at an office, or we pass by a building, and it creeps us out in our body, how many of us just ignore and say, it must be nothing or whatever? Don't do that. Never do that. And here's another thing. Children are not that deformed by society yet. So children are more alert to their intuition. Have you noticed that there are certain adults, when they're around children, children tend to keep staring at them in a fearful or scared way? Listen to what I'm saying. When a little child is uncomfortable around an adult, something is wrong with that adult. Instead of taking it out on the child for acting out, because the child doesn't know any better than to act out. Instead of being upset with the child acting out, ask yourself, why is my child or why is this child acting out like this? And if you notice the child is always acting out around certain adults, look into those adults. Don't you know that many parents don't do this? Don't you know that many relatives don't pay attention to these things, and later they hear that, I don't know, Uncle Ted or some other guy or some other woman that they were on good terms with ended up being a child trafficker or a child molester or some other creepy individual they didn't know that they were? But here's the thing, the adults were so used to sabotaging themselves by ignoring their intuition. The children, they were still sensitive to their intuition, so the children picked up quickly something's wrong with this individual. But the children, of course, cannot explain what's wrong. The adults around them failed them. There are people who were sex trafficked as children. And the sex traffickers were people that were close to the family, to the parents. And the child was uncomfortable around the individual, but the parents didn't pick it up. Look, too many adults out there are sabotaging themselves. I cannot force them to stop their self-sabotage. They must want to be better. What I can do is inform those who want to be better to be better. So, never ignore your intuition. Ever. Don't do it.